Welcome to Doing the Work podcast, the podcast for advanced Dr. Joe students to gather together to discuss, explore, and learn as we forge the river of change together. I am Amanda, and along with my co-host Lorelei, we are grateful to have your time and attention for the next 45 minutes. Today is our guest, Giovanna. We are excited to get to know her and learn from her journey. But before we dive in, let's take a couple minutes and connect our hearts.
Yes, this is how we like to start and end each of our sessions, by holding our intention for a loving, edifying, and playful conversation. Let's begin, and I invite everyone, listeners and participants alike, to just close your eyes, and if that feels comfortable, put a hand on your heart just to draw our focus to this fourth energy center, the center of the heart, the center of creativity and love. And let's take a deep breath and allow our consciousness and our awareness to drop into our hearts. And as we breathe out, feel this love and this awareness expand into every one of your cells. As we become conscious and aware that we are the field, we are connected, feeling the space around our bodies and filling that space as well with our awareness, with a gratitude of being together. Let us feel our hearts connect, linking together in joy, in a deep, powerful human connection. So much gratitude for being together and co-creating. And let us expand even further to reach beyond space and time, to that place of possibilities where we are all connected, creating patterns within patterns. And as we get ready to dive in, move your consciousness to your fifth center, your throat. And let's set an intention to have expanding conversations. And let us now move our consciousness just beyond our eyes, so we get ready to see the world from a new perspective. So grateful to be together.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Let's
Lorelei.
begin.
Thank you for that beautiful guidance into our hearts. And thank you, Giovanna, for connecting and sharing your presence and your experience with us.
Thank you for having me, for giving me the opportunity to share something, a little bit about my journey.
Yes, thank you.
I'm grateful.
As a way to introduce yourself, Gio, can you give us a quick story about your journey into Dr. Joe's work, and also share what elements of Dr. Joe's model of understanding spoke to you and intrigued you the most?
Everything started when my daughter is 6. She was 6 months. She's now 6 years old. Interesting things were happening in the world at that moment. I was in search of answers. I remember in becoming a mother was definitely a game changer for me. So I started asking the big questions, but not knowing where to find the answers. So everything started with Ramtha. It was introduced by one of my family members. And I just started reading this book, and it opened a door. Very interesting door, and there was a very strong calling. So I explored more about it. And one day, while I was browsing something related to that, I found Dr. Joe on the web. I felt drawn to whatever little video he was offering, and I just clicked and play in. And I just loved what he was saying. It resonated so strongly. I asked myself, who's this person? So of course, I looked him up. I started and watched few interviews. And that kind of brought me to one of his books. I read Becoming Supernatural and absolutely loved it. It really opened this door that I didn't even know existed. And I knew, from that day that was I was looking for, that I was gonna find answers in this place. And it was so powerful. And we were in lockdown and all that. So I used my time wisely. I read and read, I devoured information. And there was this online seminar with Creon, I don't know if I'm mispronouncing, in Shaloha Productions. So he was one of the speakers. So we have few people there that I admire and follow. It was Dr. Lipton, Greg Braden, Anita Munjani.
You're one of those people that you hear of, like in the pandemic. I've started this multi-million-dollar business. I've learned 7 languages. I became mystical. That tells us a lot about what you were now watching Netflix. You were there becoming a mystical being.
Yeah. So I said, I need to join this virtual seminar. And my husband, he supported me. He was taking care of my baby because you really needed to be there, put hours into that. So I did that. And well, that took me even further. And I'm not going to jump into because I know this is part of another question, but that opened the door to the mystical for me very strongly.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah, needless to say, I read all his books.
Yeah.
And then I started doing meditation. I didn't at that point know that he had guided meditations, like pre-recorded and all that. So I was doing purely his books. So I was following all the steps. And even though I didn't have music or anything like that, I was very passionate about it. And I had great results, even though it was just so, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. It's always fun to look back and hear how people found him. That's one of my favorite parts about listening and meeting new people at the events too.
Yeah.
So fast forwarding to today, if you were going to take a snapshot about how you feel about your life, yourself in this moment, what would it look like? How would you describe that?
I would say passionate, inspired about my purpose and my mission, feeling empowered and unlimited. So many and highly curious, creative to the point that I never thought it could be possible for me. And it's just like very much in the unknown and very enthusiastic about it. Highly grateful in that, like, very deep love towards myself because I'm doing this and it's not easy. So I see the snapshot and I see that person and I admire that person and I love that person profoundly.
That is so beautiful. I mean, can you talk more about the relationship between feeling unlimited and having this deep love and appreciation for yourself?
Yeah. When I first started this work, I was, disempowered at that moment of my life. So not understanding, I thought that was all it was, but there was something in me that inner voice would tell me, but I feel like I had this fire in me, right? So, but I didn't know how to access that. And by
Did you
doing this
always feel
work,
that way? Or I know I'm
since
a
I
mom
was a
too.
kid,
Okay. Sometimes when you're a mother, when you're newly a mother, there is a feeling of both. There is a fire and there is a bit of a sense of disempowerment depending on your experience, because it's suddenly your life changes to the point that you don't really get to make as many decisions for yourself because everything is about the baby and the baby and the baby. So
but
you've
important
always
that you
felt this
mentioned.
way.
Yeah, no, but it's important that you mentioned that. Yes, I always felt that way since I was little. I never thought that I would ever die, or I felt like I was eternal. Not having any knowledge or anything like that. That's how I felt. But sometimes that those things, but life happens and all that, and that is kind of, in a way, it's buried, and it's like you're not able to access that place anymore. It's so beautiful. I feel such admiration for every single mother, and when I was pregnant, I felt that, okay, I'm gonna have this child. It's not gonna be my child. It's going to be the child of the world. And I have
Yes.
to be my greatest, whatever that means. I don't know what that is, but I know I can be better. I know I can access that powerful, beyond my own identity. It feel part of me.
That is, I have to say, that is so amazing, because I've been a mom now for over 8 years, and this is how I felt as well, that this child that I am bringing into the world is belonging to the world, and I have a responsibility, and it is coming from me, but it doesn't belong to me. I don't have the power to just say, like, abracadabra, be this way. It's just like, I hope I'm doing my best, but I felt a deep sense of responsibility, not just for taking care of the child, but for in adding to the world with this child. And I think you're the first person I hear expressing that. I'm pretty sure most of the conversations I've been having many times, it seems that as parents, we feel that, oh, no, this is my child, and I do A, B, C, and I get, X, Y, Z. But there is both a sense of like, I can't do this by myself. I have to be in the unknown as a parent, and also that the child is their own person. And if God would give us the possibility, the control to just say, like, oh, make him this way and make him that way, I guess it wouldn't, there would be no point, right? There would be no point for life this way. So tell me more about that. I'm pretty curious.
So in terms of my relationship with my daughter and being a mother and all that, how I see started, from that moment, and I committed to that, and I had that conversation with my husband. That, kind of determined our, like, that path from that point on. And we both committed to that. It hasn't been an easy path to walk. It's full of surprises and challenges, but there's always bliss in every single challenge. So through this work, I just always try to be super aware of the changes in my daughter, as she lives her childhood, and me as a mother, how I feel about it. Always try to be very, very connected. I try to be very present, which is, it's not easy. And I have this certain. This is funny because one of the things that I slowly getting rid of is the sense of urgency. So, and when I first had my daughter, it was the sense of urgency in trying to be excellent. I have tasks, I have to do this and that, and I had to modify the model to the point that I don't relate to that energy anymore. But still, the commitment, it has become more profound, and I always tell her, when I talk to my daughter, I like to interview her. I have become so engaged to this that I even became a teacher because of that.
Oh,
So
wow.
it has been opening doors, and I became that because she's going to this Waldorf school, and I found it because I was looking for something different. I feel like, okay, if I want her to be a child of the world, when she taps into that, the education world and all that, it needs to be different. I don't want what I see with my, or what I was exposed as a child. I want different. So then I
Yes.
found this.
It seems to me also that there is so much similarity between doing this work and being a parent, because you have to both be comfortable in the unknown, but also you need a lot of faith to just believe that everything is going to work out and that you are doing okay and things are going to be okay. But also you have to do a lot of things. So, a lot of things. So tell me, how do you do the work? The work has a specific meaning for us in the community, but how do you do it? What does it mean to you? And what does your everyday look like in doing the work?
Okay. To me, doing the work in very few words is first knowing, second experiencing, and third is becoming. So whatever that is, by doing this work, we're learning a lot. Yes. But the very basic, for me, the most important knowledge is that we are love, and that entails a lot of things, right? It goes from there and I expand from there and I learn a lot of things, how I can be more patient, how I can be more grateful, how I can be, but it, stems from love. And yes, I get the theory. I learn how to do things, and I have this knowledge. I experience through practice. So I try to exercise that knowledge on my daily day basis. And then to the point, I need to become that. So the more I practice it, the more I'm creating that neural path. And like not only, I'm talking about my brain, but also in my body. And I become that. It sounds very easy, but there's a lot of things that come into place when you're doing that, right? And doing the work after a retreat. I mean, I love retreats, right?
Which one was the last one?
The last one was DC, the AFU, and
I was there.
Really?
Last year, right? Last year in June.
So I'm going to this next one.
Me too. I'll see you there.
Yeah, wonderful. So just when you are in a retreat, as you may know, you are so close. You get to be so close to source if you really expose yourself and dive into that experience without any limitations. If you fully do that, you get to experience that closeness. You get close to, source, and all that feels fantastic. But
so how do you do that at retreats? Tell us, especially for people that are newer, how do you go fully in at the retreat? What are your tips and tricks?
What I do is first, to me, I go in with an intention, but that has shifted throughout, time. And my intention has become more narrow and more specific. And then also after setting my intention, and my intention lately has been, I just want to be there fully aware of everything that is happening with no expectations whatsoever, knowing that everything is possible. And with that open mind, I just go into that experience and I am playful. I just like to be playful. There's no agenda, there's nothing. I want to be playful and I want to be happy. Every time that I go to a retreat, I connect with those energies, those frequencies, and the frequency of laughter because I love to laugh.
Yes.
I love to connect with people, which I was not before. So, but this new me loves it. And so I go with that mentality, and everything is so beautiful. Every single person I meet, everything.
So you love to connect with people before maybe. So tell us, did you go to other retreats in the beginning where you were keeping more to yourself and now you're more connected? How did you make that transition?
I think it's just by doing the work. I started peeling whatever and getting rid of stuff that no longer served me. And the first retreat was painful for me. I was full of fear, uncertainty. I was afraid of getting close to people. I was judgmental, and constricted by many things that perhaps didn't allow me to go fully into the experience. But it was important for me to live that. And it was every single retreat at the beginning was powerful and beautiful and opened new doors, and I was brave enough to continue. I could have said no when I felt that feeling that what am I doing here? This is painful.
So you're super committed. Everything was clicking for you at home when you discovered Dr. Joe, when you read the books, you were doing the meditations, all of those things. But when you went to your first retreat, where was that? When was that? And you felt like you came against a new part of yourself that didn't show up at home?
Yeah, because we were in lockdown, and it was good for me because I love solitude, and I used that time to do introspection, to just exercise that, live my experience with my baby. And when it seemed that the world was suffering, I was in bliss. I was enjoying that moment. I felt like I found answers and all that. But it got real when I have to go and expose myself and go into it. It's not virtual anymore.
Yeah.
It's in person, and I
Where
wanted to
did
be
you
there.
go?
When it was that was 2019, I think it was 2019 in Marco Island.
2020 was the pandemic.
20, yeah. It was I'm not sure. It was the first retreat after the pandemic. So I
Week long?
remember it was a week-long retreat in Marco Island.
Okay.
And I connected with, two amazing people. I remember I said, well, if I'm gonna do this, I remember they sent me at that point we were using WhatsApp. They created this group. So there's a lot of people chatting and this and that. I had everything already, in place for me to go there, the room. I had a rental, everything was good. And somebody asked, wonder if I can, share a ride with somebody, or I'm on a ride this day. And something told me, hey, just jump in. And I said, well, I have a rental and I'm going to be at the airport around that time. It would be my pleasure to, to take you to the venue. So I met two wonderful people. They became my dear friends. But wait a second. No, that was my second retreat. My first retreat, I took my daughter with me and my auntie, and the universe kind of all things aligned for it to happen because I have no support system here in this country, no family besides. It's only the three of us.
Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia. From Colombia.
Okay.
So I just said, okay, I'm going to this place, but how am I going to do this? I have my daughter, and I remember my auntie from Colombia recently got the visa. I invited her, and I adore her. She was with me. I brought my daughter, my auntie to the venue.
Your favorite people?
Yes, my favorite people. I was there, and my daughter was with me, and my auntie, and it was just beautiful. But it was painful for me to go into that ballroom and not knowing anybody.
And it's a
felt
big ballroom.
Yeah, it was so
like
intimidating.
1,800 people.
It was intimidating. It was a scary place to be for me. But I was brave enough, like I said before. Something told me, Gio, if you want this, you have to be brave. And I pushed myself, and little by little, I started shedding a lot of things that, prevented me from connecting with people. Because a lot of things happened in my life, my past life, that there was a little bit of trauma here and there. I didn't want to be hurt anymore. So I guess in a way, I protected myself and created this small world. I didn't want to have many people around me.
Yes.
And
so what are some surprising things that you've learned about yourself in the meditation or about the world, given so much has changed?
Many. That first, I'm more than my body.
Yes, big one. Especially as women and as mothers, like it's all about the body too in the beginning. That's a big one.
And for me, because I always love to exercise, to take care of my body, to have good nutrition. So I put so much attention into my body that at some point I thought that I was all it was. And then through meditation.
Think that happens to a lot of us too. Some because we are so health oriented, and some because the people I've met in the community that have had health issues, and then they put a lot of attention because of that. But I think that it's surprising when you come to this work and at times you're just there thinking, oh my God, when did I become so obsessed with my body? Like, it's not like anyone says, that's it, I'm going to forget I'm anything but my body. But there is a point there where you go, all I do is think about what I'm going to eat and when I'm sleeping and optimizing this and biohacking that. And, so that's such a big thing.
Absolutely. That was me. That was me. The whole 9 yards. And then I learned that I'm more than my body, that I'm pretty much energy than anything else, that I learned that I'm a multi-dimensional being, that I am love, and that everything I could possibly need, want, have is within me. I learned, and I keep learning that one, that we are one. Seriously, we are one. That we power lies in community, and that connection is just so important to raise consciousness.
Yeah.
I learned that we're not linear beings. We don't live linear lives, that I'm an unlimited creator. I learned that I can, through meditation, I can boost my body, change my biology, heal myself and others. So, and I'm sure there's much more I've learned.
But these are some really, really big ones. So then tell us about, if you're comfortable, one or two mystical experiences that you had that maybe contributed to you having this new belief system.
Well, my favorite topic. So,
We love it.
one of exactly, one of the things that I love about Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe, is his passion for the mystical, because that is my passion. And when I started doing this, it happened for me really quickly. So
And just
remember,
before that, can you tell
yeah.
us how do you define mystical?
Okay, mystical is something that is beyond what we can perceive with our very own physical senses. It's not physical whatsoever. It taps into something that is magical. Requires a greater mind to be able to see it. So in a way, we need to be in a very elevated state of mind to understand that's happening. Because what happens to me is that I had experienced the mystical before many times, but I didn't have the eyes to see it. So when I said that it's something that we cannot perceive with our eyes, with our physical eyes, that's what I mean by it. But if you are well trained in your state of mind, you're open in that way, you can see the mystical right in front of your eyes, with your eyes closed or with your eyes open. So to me, that's mystical. It's like a feeling. It's a feeling.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
like that.
Now that clarifies it. That clarifies it. And I wonder
So,
if some of us don't pose that question to ourselves. We just think, like, if something seems super, super weird, then it's mystical. It's with your eyes open as much as with your eyes closed.
yes. And thank you for asking that question, because I never asked myself that question, and that is important. It brings more awareness. So the very first one, remember when I share how I started first knew about Dr. Joe Dispenza, or this work and all that. During that seminar, we had different meditations, and I did meditation with Joe Dispenza, and I also did a powerful meditation with Anita Munjani. And after that day of meditation, we meditated pretty much for the entire length of that day. I went to bed that night. And I remember I was dealing with this back pain. When you're a new mom and all that, you use your body a lot. So I felt this like very intense pain on my back and all that, and a little bit out of shape. I go to bed, and I felt this energy that entered the room. And then at first I was very, very afraid of it. But I decided at that moment, because the meditation with Anita was so, so intense for me, I decided to surrender. Some of the words that she said resonated, and I surrendered to that and trusted. And I just trusted.
Can I just stop for a second and let everybody know that Anita is, if I'm correct, she has the issues about near-death experiences, right?
Yes.
Go on.
She was pretty much on her dying bed, and everybody already said bye to her in the hospital. Her body was shut down pretty much entirely, and she had that experience and came back to life, and her body recovered beautifully in such a rapid way. But so I go in and I feel this energy. Once it started touching my body, it was so excruciating pain. It was doing like surgery, and I mean, it was very intense. And it was so painful. My body started moving in different directions. Then I remember it was like 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, and birds started chirping. Birds are sleeping, but it was like a
Yeah.
symphony of birds,
Wow.
on my balcony, and I felt that they were celebrating that moment. They were with me celebrating that moment, and I felt like they did this, and I felt so much love in my heart, and I just started saying thank you. And I never felt like I was worthy of this, but thank you, for noticing me for this and that. And then that pain dissolved, and that kind of reassured me that I was in the right place, that I needed to be brave. And by being brave at that moment of fear, it was intense fear, I got my beautiful prize. So that was my first mystical experience. Do you want more?
Yes, that was a funny one. You love to laugh. You love to connect to that feeling of laughter. Funniest mystical experience.
Funny, you mentioned this. Sometimes when I do meditations and that happened to me, I decided like one week, I just want to connect with the frequency of laughter. So I started doing my meditations before going to bed and wanted to connect with the frequency of laughter. And I go to bed, with that feeling. And I remember that I had lucid dreams. And in those dreams, I laughed with people that I never seen before in my life. And it was so, the lucid dream is like colors that you never seen before. I mean, I had not seen those colors with this eyes. So I just go and I'm laughing with people like hysterically. And then I wake up with that sense, oh my God, that was a good, I mean, that was really funny. And I just keep laughing when I open my eyes. And it's beautiful.
We really need it nowadays, I have to say. Also, uh, mm, connected a bit with that. In the last few months, I'm taking all my news information from Saturday Night Live weekend updates because at least it's a funny joke. Everything is a joke, but at least that one is funny. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, there is a frequency out there because if somebody were to pay me to write jokes about everything that's going on, I would find the funny side of things, just as those people at Saturday Night Live do. So I think it's really important for all of us to maybe after this podcast to just try and connect to that frequency of laughter and see everything as a big funny joke.
Exactly. And funny that you mentioned Saturday Night Live because that's exactly what I do. Sometimes when I want to just induce the laughter, let me watch
Yes.
this, Saturday Night Live, just a little, 5 minutes or something. Wow, 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 wow. May I share one more
Please
mystical
go
experience I
ahead.
had in a
I
retreat?
would love to.
Remember when you asked me when you go to a retreat, what is your routine? How you get fully immersed, right? I think it was Tennessee. I went to a retreat. It was an AFU, and I remember I went into that retreat with a firm intention. And my intention was, even though my meditations were always very rich, I was going very deep into the experience. I had not experienced my mystical moment during the meditation. I would go, to my the hotel room, sleep, and have my mystical, while sleeping. But in the ballroom, had not happened to me. So I go, okay, my intention is I'm going to have that mystical experience in the ballroom because
With all
I
these
am
people
worthy.
that I don't
Yes,
know.
with all these people I don't know, and I'm worthy of it, and I'm connecting with that energy of the mystical. So I go with that intention and go into the pineal gland meditation.
4:30 a.m.
Yes, yep,
Yeah.
that one. So I just go into, and I'm very, playful, and I'm certain I'm gonna have my mystical experience. But then again, I said I let go. I surrender my dream, and I'm grateful because it's happening for me. I'm very grateful. So I go and we go into the meditation. He stretches. We were like this. I felt like I was this rubber band. He goes in different directions. I feel like, oh, I think we're getting close to the end of this meditation. It's not happening yet, but okay, there's a door. There's a door. So he goes, come back to me.
Oh no.
No, no. I felt so close. I was ready to open the door, like I
Like one
felt it.
foot out.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, no. So he goes, come back to me. Yeah. A lot of people in that audience, they were having their moment. They were having their moment. And I felt so much love and gratitude for them. So I said, perhaps this was my mystical. Perhaps this is my mystical moment. And I said, for those people, I don't know, whatever they experience, I'm grateful. I feel love for them. I start just giving love and sending love and being grateful. And everybody's coming out of it, right? Because he's come back to me. And then, boop, I'm in this empty space. I'm in this empty, there's only nothingness. And I'm there as a consciousness. I'm there because I can see, not with my body or anything like that, but I see like this nothingness. And then I go a spotlight, like, on stage, and it shows me the most beautiful pattern I ever seen. So it felt, because I know that the water, when the water is pure, the molecule of the water, is just so gorgeous. Like when it's perfectly coherent, I saw, yeah, it was like snowflakes. So spotlight showed me, boom, and it comes this thing, and I just go. And I go, what is this beautiful thing? What is this beautiful thing? And then the spotlight disappears. And then again, boom. And I see, I don't know, probably like 5 different patterns. So perfect, so beautiful, so beautiful. And I felt, yeah, I felt like I was. And I said, Lord, we're so beautiful, so perfect.
Yes.
It's just so magical. And that's my mystical experience.
Isn't it interesting, because water, from my understanding recently, is that it moves the molecules in such a way that it can become a transmitter and a transducer of information, like an antenna. But your thought before this was all these people having a mystical experience around me. So pretty much you connected to that. And this is such a great way for us to end the interview, because we are talking about that, about coherence and the power of tapping into the field of consciousness of our communities. I want to thank you so much for giving us this time and this window, not a door this time, a window into yourself and your practice. And I'm going to ask Amanda to lead us into a quick heart coherence that will leave us floating into this beautiful field that we've created together today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorelai and Amanda. And like I said at the beginning of this interview, I am profoundly grateful for being here, for being noticed, for being, and just open that door for me to share a little bit of my experience in total humbleness.
Thank you. Thank you, Gio, for joining us. Let's take a minute. We'll close our eyes again and settle into our bodies. Breathing in slowly and exhaling. Relaxing our bodies. Settling into our hearts, our fourth center. Seed of creation. And the door into the unknown. And connecting our connection even further and stronger. Reaching into that deep gratitude and the joy of what this space has created. And that beautiful anticipation of what it will bring into the lives of all our listeners and to us participants as well. Another deep breath into our hearts. And letting this set our day. Joy, gratitude, inspiration, and play. Exhale. Thank you. Thank you again.